afternoon. This is Elizabeth West. I'm the editorial director of Business Travel News, and we're here at the Business Travel Show Europe live. So we have here today Ciaran Delaney. He is the founder of meetings platform Hubli. Thank you for joining me today, Ciaran. How are you?
I'm good. Great to be here.
Good. So were you with us in October when we re-emerged with the Business Travel Show? Did you come in October?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we participated on Innovation Row, I think, at that point. It was great. Yeah.
Perfect. So you've grown a bit since then, and in fact, I think you've maybe had a name change since then.
We have, yeah. So we launched Hubli as our new brand pretty much, I think, around that time. And we felt that the fact that our platform caters for meetings, but also group hotel stay reservations, that, a new name hopefully really resonated, and so it's been a great journey since then, growing the brand awareness, and it's been good.
Fantastic. And you participated also at our Innovate event in October in the US. So we've had a long history with Ciaran, and it's been great.
Yep.
So why don't you give us your perspective on the return of meetings? It's been a rocky road. We had Omicron come around at the beginning of the year. How are bookings coming along on the Hubli platform, and is there anything new, different, a different trajectory that you predict for the second half of the year?
Yeah, so we're seeing significant growth month on month, so over 50% growth month on month in bookings, yeah. And some interesting patterns as well. We're seeing that there's a significant growth in group hotel stay reservations on their own, so simply people booking room blocks on the platform. Also, interesting pattern of kind of 2-day smaller meetings as well, which kind of we feel points towards the kind of team off-site kind of need that's emerged post-pandemic.
Right, and that's you bring up a really interesting point, because it really has to do with this new workforce, this remote experience that we're having with the office or the non-office, if you want to call it that. How do you see that moving forward? It's a real culture kind of a problem when it comes to running a company and really bringing people together. If there's no office, it's hard to communicate and to have it resonate with that culture. How are meetings going to be the glue that keeps the company together?
Yeah, I think, listen, you're right. I think how we work has changed. I think 74% of the Fortune 500 companies are actively reducing their office footprint.
Yeah.
And more organizations are offering flexible remote working to attract talent and retain talent.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that really driving a whole new use case for meetings. And in many cases, it's quite an internal activity, right? And there's a growing trend for team offsites. And we're seeing with those types of reservations, there are, there's meetings as part of it and overnight stays, but there's also gaps in the schedule for people to, bond and, go for a walk and do activities together. So I think that point of kind of building culture and relationships in the organization is key now. The other area as well is just productivity. McKinsey produced a really, really interesting report showing that the most productive organizations during the pandemic, right, they had a 67% increase in productivity, organized small micro transactions between employees, which basically fancy word for meetings, right?
Micro transactions.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue a little bit.
Yeah, right.
So they're so productivity, culture, relationships are bringing this whole new wave of simple meetings for organizations.
Right. And that was really something that you caught on the front end of years ago when you founded the company, this sort of simple meeting structure, and to see that. And those have been around for a long time, but I think they're gaining new significance as we enter this new sort of workforce after COVID-19.
Yeah, it's still, in most cases, organizations rely on kind of manual booking and manual servicing for this area. Now with the growing demand, it's no longer fit for purpose, right? Because if it's manual, there's no real structure and visibility. So we're seeing, that there's certainly a huge increase in adoption of our platform, and some interesting examples. Like we've a new client who went live like last summer, and prior to going live, they had a feel of how many people were meeting, but it was a bit of that kind of we don't really know.
Right.
And in the first 11 months, there was 3,000 self-serve bookings for simple meetings and offsites, etc. So I think, now it's really turned a corner where companies realize, manual servicing doesn't give us the visibility and control and, the things we need really for this area.
You can't manage what you don't capture, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
So I know that Hubly's had some interesting rollouts in the last 6 months. One of which has been a sustainability initiative and sort of a sustainability model.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's happening there and what's possible?
Yeah. So we launched Hubly Green last week, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's our new sustainability module, and it has a number of components. The first one is a solution that allows you to decide where to meet based on carbon consumption and price. And what we've done is we've built that into the booking experience.
Okay.
So when the employee goes in to search, they're prompted to use the tool to find the lowest carbon location for their meeting.
Okay.
Right? So they enter where people are traveling from, whether it's plane, air, or rail, so that the means of transport. And then they enter where they're considering to have a meeting.
Okay.
And Hubly Green will then give a result ranking those locations based on the lowest carbon usage, but also a pricing index for each location as well.
And so where is that data being drawn from? Is it DEFRA? I mean, that's one source that I know of that has those emissions data for travel. Is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So we have an API that basically pulls all that data, and it's based on DEFRA and EEA as well.
Okay.
So basically industry standards for that. But also we're quite, we can plug in other solutions, right? So if a client uses another technology to track, we've kind of designed a system to be able to incorporate that solution as well.
And then do you have, when it comes to sourcing the hotels and venues, do you have a certification not a process, or do you use a certain certifier to bring those venues in? How do you know they're green is really what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, exactly. No, listen, we ran actually a series of give and get workshops with like 20 different travel managers and organizations, and that was the point, right? So what we did was we designed a solution whereby the hotel or venue can upload their sustainability accreditation via their Hubly dashboard. But that's a certification with an expiry date, and our team approve it. Our team will, and there's 20 accreditation bodies that are part of the program.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not really, it's allowing the hotel or the venue to kind of furnish a third party solution, as opposed to asking them 10 questions that everyone will tick and respond to. We'd rather have that quality.
That third party verification that they just upload, and then you can present that as, if this is a trusted source for whatever the user is, then they can identify that on their own. Yeah. Okay.
And within our platform, there's all the major hotel groups, but also a lot of the kind of unique space providers, right? So it's very interesting to see the different kind of accreditations that they're providing, and it's really beginning to grow now as an inventory on the platform.
Good.
Yeah,
so it's growing as an inventory. Do you see that, obviously you're going to have a smaller number of venues and hotels in that subset of green.
Yeah.
So as you sort of try to communicate what's available on the platform, how do you communicate to the user? If they're green, they definitely have fewer choices, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think the decision on our side was the quality, right? So we'd rather, grow that well over a period of time and really deliver that, assurance, as opposed to scaling something that is not as, as transparent, right? But also what we've done as well within the platform as part of the booking process is to allow the user to also request that the venue doesn't provide high waste items as part of the meeting. So you can say, for example, single-use plastic bottles for water, remove them from the meeting. So that's a nice way to, it's a nice way to sort of empower the booker to kind of go, you know what, we want to drive sustainability. And 71% of people who book are actually using that tool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So do they have to use like a green property in order to make those requests, or it can be of any property?
It can be of any property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's very sort of incremental
Yeah.
steps that you can take towards green. If you can't commit to a green venue, for
Exactly.
example, you can still do these incremental things.
Yes.
That's very cool.
It is, and I think people want that. Right? The fact that 71% of our users are using that tool really shows that employees and organizations want to get on board, right? They want to, and that's why we felt like the Where to Meet tool really had to sit in that booking environment, right? Because it's front and center, and it will be used then, and will drive those savings for the company as well.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think our time is up, which went really fast, but I really appreciate you coming and speaking with me today, Ciaran, and I want to thank everyone for watching.